So let's start with Nick Mullins. Should we? I'll start with Nick Mullins. I gave him a C for his performance. Maybe you think that's generous. I would have gave Jimmy Garoppolo a C as well. I mean, what the hell was Nick Mullins supposed to do? He made some nice throws early in the game, early to Richie James Jr. down the middle. The throw to River Craycraft in the end zone was beautiful. I'm not saying Nick Mullins is a franchise quarterback. I'm not. Hold on. I'm just saying he played well early, and then the reality of the situation set in. He had Justin School at left tackle. That guy was not physically there. He was a hologram. Then the center was benched on a short week. They brought in Daniel Brunskill to center and put Tom Compton and Colton Kivitz at right guard. So there's no pass protection, no run game. Jerick McKinnon ran hard. Jermichael Hasty had nothing. They only ran the ball 15 times with their running back, 16 times. So no run game, no pass protection, no wide receivers who can get open other than Richie James Jr. James Jr. played well, but you can't throw it to him every single time. So, I mean, look, if Jimmy Garoppolo had played under those conditions with none of his players, no Debo, no Kittle, no Trent Williams, no Mostert, you wouldn't let me give him less than a C. You'd be like, Grant, you're being really harsh on our favorite player. Let's give some context. Those aren't excuses. That's context, and that's legit. You know, I downgraded Jimmy Garoppolo the last couple of weeks because he was throwing shovel passes at Debo Samuel. Well, Nick Mullins didn't have that luxury. He actually had to throw the ball down the field to Richie James Jr., and that didn't go so well all the time. A lot of the time, what I saw from Nick Mullins was he was throwing to people who weren't open. Now, I don't want to make excuses for Nick Mullins. I'm the number one Nick Mullins backer, and what we saw today is a guy who isn't ready to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, who is not the long-term answer for the 49ers at quarterback. I never said he was. He's still inexperienced. The Niners have to bring in new quarterbacks next year. They could trade for Matt Ryan. I didn't think it was feasible, but I talked to AP's Josh Dubow, and he pointed out it's actually Matt Ryan would be cheaper for the 49ers next season than Jimmy Garoppolo would be. That's the truth. Because there's some prorated bonus that the Falcons would be on the hook for if they traded him that the Niners wouldn't be. So, Matt Ryan, Matthew Stafford, that's something they got to do. It's not Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't think. They could keep Jimmy Garoppolo for another year as a bridge quarterback, but he's quite an expensive bridge quarterback. They could keep Nick Mullins as the bridge quarterback next year. He's much cheaper. You bring in Matt Ryan and draft a quarterback. One of those two. I mean, that's where we're a few weeks, right? We've agreed on that. I have a soft spot for Nick Mullins, and it really, I didn't like watching him get pulverized today. Felt like my son out there. Like, get him out of there. At a certain point, I was like, just put in CJ. Because CJ likes taking hits. He's like Steve-O from Jackass. He laughs when he gets hit and gets back up. So, yeah. But I'm glad that they didn't take Nick Mullins out because when the game was over, he had lost his poise. He'd getting hit. He got hit from behind and fumbled. That looked bad. He got up. He didn't get hurt. He finished the game and made some nice throws down the stretch against prevent defenses in garbage time. Good for him because he didn't bounce back against the Eagles. They need him to bounce back because they're not going to win games with C.J. Beathard. You know, they don't win all their games with Nick Mullins. They win about half their games with Nick Mullins. They win a game, they lose a game. With Beathard, we've seen that. He's 1-10 or 1-9 in his career. You can't win with Beathard. He's a loser. He'll do certain nice things, but he'll get you beat. He's lost twice to Josh Rosen in his life. Nick Mullins has beaten Russell Wilson. Okay? He's not a franchise quarterback. He didn't play like a starter tonight, but he gives the Niners the best chance to win while Jimmy Garoppolo is out. And Jimmy Garoppolo's going to be out for a long time, so the Niners needed to keep him in this game and get him confident. Because if they win next week, the season isn't over. They're going and they're playing in a dome. Nick Mullins, his arm will look stronger without the wind. He bounced back. Not a promising game. Not a game where any GM would look at it and be like, well, that's our quarterback next year. That's our guy. No. But, again, how do you judge any quarterback? Tom Brady. You put Tom Brady out there behind Justin School, Tom Compton. Say, hey, River Craycraft's your guy. Throw River Craycraft 5 passes. Tom Brady's going to look awful. Now, not that bad. He probably won't turn the ball over twice, but you saw Tom Brady last year in New England. He stunk. He had nothing to throw to. Well, he had no run game, no protection, no one to throw to, no one to get open. Unless the quarterback is Russell Wilson and can just run around on his own, you're not going to look good. And Nick Mullins can't run around on his own. When he has to bolt the pocket, he looks like he's in middle school. When he's in rhythm, he looks fine. So, did we learn anything new about Nick Mullins? Not really. No one really thought he's a future franchise quarterback. No one thinks that. He was undrafted for a reason. At best, he'll have a super backup career like Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's made a lot of money in the league. So, Nick, we're going to see you next week. Looking forward to it. Next week, they should have Brandon Ayuk, Trent Williams, maybe Raheem Mostert, maybe Deebo Samuel, maybe. I'd like to see Nick Mullins play with the full complement of players before we bring in C.J. Beathard. For the love of God, don't do it. Give Nick another chance without River Craycraft on the field. Because, God, River Craycraft, where did he get that name? Who named him River? First of all, have you ever heard of a Craycraft? Do you have neighbors named the Craycrafts? I don't. So you got this family named the Craycrafts, and they're like, we need to give our son an equally weird name to fit his last name. Do you want to name him David? No, that's David Craycraft. What is that? People think he's normal. No. How about Inlet? How about Lake? No, we have a lake at left. We have a lake at left guard. Lakin. We need a River. Oh, that's good. I like River.